I'm in charge of the tech, and that's basically what happens. And, all right, here we go. On the main stream, and the last thing I got to check on my checklist here, let's see if we're broadcasting to Rumble as we should, because I think you might have seen the other day I got fed up with Rumble. Oh, yeah, hey, it's working. Okay. The other day I got fed up with Rumble. It's working. Okay, where's that noise coming from? Okay. Oh, okay, that's on YouTube. Okay, shutting that down. And, I should have kept it up. Whatever. And there's, let me get the comments. All right, I think we're good. I think everything is working, and we are streaming to Rumble for the first time. And if you are on Rumble, and which I don't know why anybody would be, because it's the first time I'm doing, but if you are there, if you're on Rumble, please aceptar. If you can't, post a comment on Rumble, because I want to see if the Rumble comments get onto the encoder here. All right, so we got locals, supporters only. So we're setting up for exclusive content in the near future. That's going to be a little spicy for some people. And all of you here, Rumble, TickTock, I think we're getting this test for echo. What, test for echo? Is there an echo? There shouldn't be an echo. You know what we got to test for? We got to test for a glass of wine, because we're not having coffee tonight, and I'm not much of a drinker. So I'm going to try and not get drunk off of one glass. I got a Malbec wine, Don David d'Argentina. And, and it's going to celebrate. That's this week. Howard, thank you very much. I appreciate it, brother. Celebrate that this week we did our first Twitter space. Myself, David, and Andrea. We did our first Twitter space in Spanish. And I was not a complete car accident. I was pretty bad. I promised some grammatic errors, and boy, there were plenty. But they actually understood what I was getting at, so it was actually a lot of fun. I did it on that night from hell, where I was stuck in that snow. Well, I ended up driving through an ice storm coming up from Pennsylvania and whatever. So if you have wine or whatever you're drinking, put in the chat whatever you're drinking, and cheers to all of you. We have so much to celebrate right now. There's so much good and fun stuff that's occurring. So, Avril, happy Saturday to you. Megan, good evening. Howard, it's good to see you as well. K9, as always. Okay, do we drink now? Yes, we now drink Malbec wine, low on tannins, less hangover. I guess so. I don't know. I'm totally not. I just know it's low sugar. It only has a couple of grams of sugar. So this is what I went with them all. And it's quite not bad. Freedom Cowgirl, cheers to you, my dear. And we can turn this into a drinking game. Every time Keith Wilson lies, we'll take a drink. What am I saying? We'll all be drunk in 5 minutes. I can't do that. So it is what it is. Cheers, Christina. And, everybody's coming in here. I'm no DJ Productions. Good to see you, brother. Water. Okay, Bren's got water. Hey, that's usually what I do, because I'm the worst drinker in the world. Avril, did you get your mug replaced? I can make a new one for you. Oh, that's very sweet, actually. No, the friend of mine who actually got that mug for me, which was the same friend that was taking care of me in Ottawa when I broke my ankle, and I actually wrote an article or a post in my Substack, BJdichter.substack.com. She's the one who actually got me the first one. And she's awesome. When I broke it, I sent her a picture. And it was the day of the Rouleau-Wilson report. And I started off, the first thing that happened in the morning, I'm like, uh-oh, that's not a sign. Well, I guess it was. What are you going to do? Freedom Cowgirl is a cheap drunk just like me. One shot and I'm done. Well, if I'm lucky, if I'm having a good night, it will be two. So you and I both, and I was a bartender so many years ago. So you talk about getting made fun of for that. I was quite brutal. Okay, so a couple of things I want to start with. Firstly, Welcome to the Freedom, not coffee, but the Freedom wine or drinking session. I thought the next drinking session we would do, I would be uploading the Twitter space of Wilson and Marazzo and me tearing them both an asshole and them running like little cowards when Jim Calharius came into the room, and they just all of a sudden they're busy. Oh, well, gotta run. It was so good. But I figured there's a whole bunch of stuff we got to do. We'll do that another time when it's fun. And I think as the more time goes on, that will be funnier and funnier. So for now, I figured let's start with celebrating again with our glass of wine some of the goings on. Now, before we start, there is, for anybody who's on Discord, who's reasonable, doesn't want to yell at each other, and doesn't like the toxicity of Twitter, we're still beta testing the Discord. We're looking for moderators. I've actually invited, and she took me up on the offer, which was really nice. I don't want to say her name right now, even though I can see she's watching me somewhere. Kind of a lefty sort of person. I don't say that in a derogatory way, just kind of way more liberal in terms of her policies. At least that's my impression. But always very, very thoughtful in her critique of people she disagrees with, which is what we need more of. And in the Discord, we have a left room, a right room, an I don't know room, which we're trying to design for people to go in and out, to be able to interact with one another with respect. And when we disagree, but I've been long saying we need to start to form friendships with people who have different political perspectives on us. It challenges our own beliefs, but it also causes us to have more of an open mind. So we're still in beta. If you want to join the Discord, please let me know. Send me a message over Twitter. Send me a DM, and we'll put you in there. I don't know how many people are there, 30, 40 people, I think, approximately, but it is growing. Everybody's getting along. People, we disagree on stuff, but it's awesome. It's think of it as though kind of like a digital freedom convoy within a space, and from there we can share each other's informations, Twitter posts, videos, all that sort of stuff. And none of us are going to get overly, upset or emotional when we disagree with stuff. Just okay, we disagree, different perspectives. It is what it is. But it's been great. And, a couple of the people that started it with me, the first person actually reached out to me. He kind of jokingly, described himself as a democratic socialist, which, all right, we're the complete opposite end of the spectrum, but very big on freedom of speech. We need to talk to one another. We need to respect one another. And that's the sort of atmosphere we're trying to build. Peace, love, unity, and freedom, which was that was the basis of the Freedom Convoy. Okay, another quick thing I want to mention is, I got a bunch of little quick things I got to mention. There's a little bit of a controversy. I don't know how much is legitimate and how much is made up. Hold on, I gotta just mute this for a second. Hold on, mute. And I just got to skip an ad here. All right, perfect. What's it called? We have the controversy. You've seen Pierre Poilievre and Christine Anderson and the PPC and CPC and whatever. I've said many times, so much, and I posted yesterday that House of Cards thing, so much of what you're seeing is complete nonsense and more just manipulation of all of you. Don't buy into it. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's definitely more to the story than what you're seeing. Somebody's paying for all of this. It's manufactured outrage, and I would just suggest to everybody not to take the bait. Jason LaFace, what's up, brother? Thanks for actually having me on this morning quickly on your stream on Facebook. I greatly appreciate the invite. That was great. And Jason and I spoke for about, 10 minutes on his stream this morning. Okay, so on the topic of Christine Anderson is a Nazi and a racist and a bigot, or the truckers are Nazis and racists and bigot, or Pierre Poilievre is a Nazi and a racist and a bigot, or whoever else is a Nazi and a racist and a bigot, I want to share this video. I've shared it before on one of the streams, and if you're on Locals or on TickTock, you don't need to see it. It's in black and white, but you can hear it. It's a very short video. It's, how long is this? I can't see because of time. It's only 38 seconds. So just listen carefully and you'll understand what it is. And this is from 1969 is when this was originally aired. And this is G. Edward Griffin, the John Birch Society, who Bob Dylan was a big critic of. And I used to love Bob Dylan when I was younger, and now I'm not so aligned with Bob Dylan because, well, reasons. So, here we go.
In 1943, the following directive was issued from party headquarters to all communists in the United States. It read, "When certain obstructionists become too irritating, label them after suitable build-ups as fascist or Nazi or anti-Semitic, and use the prestige of anti-fascist and tolerance organizations to discredit them. In the public mind, constantly associate those who oppose us with those names which already have a bad smell. The association will, after enough repetition, become fact in the public mind."
So I think that's something important that all of us need to remember when we get into this name calling, which is what all politics seems to have divulged into, that all this name calling comes from, these tactics, that it's not exclusively used by communists. It's used by all sorts of people. I'd like to see us stop it. And, in my statement on Jordan Peterson's podcast, one of the things I said at the very end was it's time for the media and the political class to tone down their rhetoric because it's making us all crazy, right? And they haven't. So this is also part of the reason I'm trying to do everything I can to bring some of us together who disagree politically in terms of our philosophy, but we're open-minded and want to reach other people. From somebody, what is that? Posty for Freedom on TickTok. Hi, BJ. How are you? Thanks for doing all you have been doing. Well, thank you very much. I thank you for the wonderful comment. That's the first comment I've ever read off of TickTok. So I really appreciate the love. I wish I could, give you some sort of award, but I hope you have a glass of wine and join us all in a drink. Jason LaFace, social conditioning. Yeah, that's part of it. Anyways, okay. So I want us all to remember that when we see the back and forth, the way I'm shifting towards, once I hear somebody say or call somebody right-wing, white supremacist, Nazi, whatever, then I just tune them out. Like, okay, it's somebody with no argument. Next, move on. And I think if we all do that, if we all train each other, that once we hear those words, because they try to train us to respond to the stimulus of trigger words, we need to train ourselves to respond to automatically dismissing them. When we hear the smears, automatically dismiss. And if we do that, our society might become a little bit more sane. So there is those of you who have been following, and he gets all your comments in a second. I see them all. There's I want to give a special shout out actually to War Campaign and Diverge Media, who've been doing deep dives into the commission evidence. They've been grabbing emails and messages from Bridget, myself, Chris, Chad, I think Jason as well, a whole bunch of people, just to show the reality of what was going on and what we were being subjected to in Ottawa. We were dealing with people that were very parasitic. And I've been talking about this now for almost a year. I have been, quite vocal about it. And thankfully, there's people who are starting to realize that, oh, hey, yeah, Dichter's not a Fed. Dichter is so crazy. He's a Fed. The things that they get, that's another thing. Racist, bigot, Nazi, homophobe, Fed. Fed is on there as well. Just turn it off. But what they've been doing is they've been going through deep dives in the evidence, writing articles, doing videos, all that sort of stuff. And so special thanks to all of them. Somebody asked me before here saying, I guess they misinterpreted a tweet and they said, I thought you and War Campaign or whatever are on the same side. It's not that we're all on the side of truth. So I haven't had to, I'm not going out to kiss anyone's ass. They're not going to kiss anyone's ass either. Diverge Media is just the facts, just the facts. And so I've given him everything and said, you come to your own conclusions, much like the other people who were members of Freedom Corp have done the same, and they're coming to the same conclusions of what I've been discussing for the past year. So for me, it's time to celebrate, because finally there's some good people out there who are willing to listen and understand. BJ, did you know that dismantling the Convoy vid from War Campaign has been taken down? Not exactly. So what's happened is they somebody in that video, which I'm going to show in a second, is not happy with some of the questions that were raised in that video. So did they do the equivalent of brigading? Do you know what brigading is? Some of you may have been a victim of brigading. I was a victim of brigading from Aaron O'Toole when I was, pulling the rug out from underneath him when I used to be on Facebook. So what they do is they get a bunch of people who are supporters of the party, usually younger people, and they do mass brigading. Mass brigading meaning they all report in mass. Oh, hateful, hateful, hateful. Everybody files a report. It triggers the algorithm to block the person. In this case, I think the complaint that was made, it was a mass brigade of, defamatory, defamatory, defamatory. It triggers the algorithm, and then the algorithm shuts it off. That's just for YouTube. But because of the free market, we have something else. We have something called, there's Rumble. I didn't even check Rumble, but I checked their Odyssey. So since you brought it up, I'm going to share a little bit of that video so you can see it. This is the video about Dean French, who is lockdown Doug Ford's best friend and former chief of staff, and who's the guy who thought he would just show up in Ottawa, and we're going to talk about this a little later on because I got some text messages, and speak on our behalf and just, subvert me and subvert everybody else and make it the Dean French, Doug Ford Conservative Party show, which is what they do, because they behave like rapists. That's the best way to describe their behavior, in my opinion. So let me get to this thing I've got queued up. Let me turn Megan's question off. And by the way, you still haven't told me what you're drinking. I want to know, what are you guys drinking? I know Risa had what did she say she had? Chardonnay? Wasn't Pinot. I think it was a Chardonnay. Anyways, okay. So this is the video. And let me go to the website here so you can all see it. And I think you can. Let me just double check on the stream here. Can you see? Yes, you can. All right. So this is a little bit of the video that was brigaded, and basically it's locked by IP, meaning you can't see it in Canada. But if you're outside of Canada, then you can still see it on YouTube. All right.
Mr. Keith Wilson, lawyer for the Freedom Board of the Freedom Corp, worked out a plan with Mr. Dean French, ex-chief of staff of Ontario Premier Doug Ford, that coincidentally aligned with the Ottawa police plan to, quote, surge and contain.
What a coincidence that they would all come to the same plan. The Ottawa police and Doug Ford's best friend thought of the plan to save the truckers.
Restrict the footprint of the truckers' protest, the Freedom Convoy. Interestingly enough, in his own witness statement, Mr. Keith Wilson was aware this plan would significantly reduce the size of the protest and cause 75% of truckers not on Wellington Street to leave.
In his own witness statement, he said that. Remember, that was our lawyer. That was our lawyer coming up with this idea and this plan, or, supposed to be our lawyer.
Mr. Keith Wilson arrived in Ottawa from Edmonton on a chartered flight on Wednesday, February 2nd, after the first weekend of the convoy. Within 4 days of arriving in Ottawa, he was corresponding via text message with Mr. Dean French. These are the text messages entered into the Public Order Emergency Commission as exhibits. Mr. Dean French, on February 7th, tells Mr. Keith Wilson that he is having lunch with auto parts magnate billionaire Frank Stronic, who, quote, is a huge supporter and has an idea.
Okay, before I get that, I'm getting a message here on TickTock. This is very interesting. This is something that's come up this week. completely separate from the video. Myself and 285 protesters are in a lawsuit, and it seems it's getting striked down. How can we have our day in court? What's your advice if you have any? It seems all other lawsuits are in the same situation. Depend. Are you the complainant or are you the defendant? I guess what you're describing is you're the complainant. One of the things that's popped up this week is not only are there a number of us who were the original or part of the Freedom Corp board, who through a series of conspiracies and people working to stab us behind the back are no longer on the board. There's an additional 42 truckers that have reached out to me, or one of the people representing all of them, who have no legal representation, no defense. So I have a question. Where is that $5 million that was raised off the back of the truckers that's supposed to be going to our legal defense? So for those of you who are new, I've been saying for quite a while, I've offered up a solution to the JCCF that they can take, I don't know, half of the $5 million that they raised for the small group of them. They can wire transfer it to the escrow account of my legal representative, and he will take on these other people who they've abandoned and pulled the rug out from underneath them, right? They're all left. It's really disgusting. They're hoarding money for themselves and leaving all the truckers to fend for themselves while they're pocketing all the money, I guess. I don't know. So BJdichter, louder. Okay, hold on. Let me just... I'm going to do technical support here. Let me see if my input value... Okay, so my input volume is 80%. If I go any louder than that, I'm going to have gain crackling. So I don't know. Can you hear me now? Condensed mic? Yeah. Anyways, Jason LaFace says, who's one of the people defendant in the class action suit, says they left us high and dry. Yeah, but they're the ones that are pocketing the money. I don't know. You see why I describe them as rapists? Is that a little harsh? You think that's harsh? Anyways. All right, so let's do a little bit more of this, then we'll shut it down.
Mr. Frank Stronic is the founder of Magna International, an automotive parts company worth $3 billion as of 2017. Mr. Frank Stronic announced his small electric vehicle in April 2021. He said that his three-wheel, single-seat EV will revolutionize the industry. Mr. Frank Stronic, a 90-year-old auto parts magnate billionaire,
whose wife or daughter, I can't remember, I think his daughter, was a Liberal MP who famously crossed the floor and became a Conservative. Interesting. All these ancestral relationships.
Also writes articles for the Toronto Star. Mr. Dean French and Mr. Keith Wilson arrange a meeting at the Westin Hotel on Friday, February 11th, with the aim of reducing the footprint of the Freedom Convoy and concentrating the truckers and vehicles on Wellington Street.
Now, this was all happening behind our backs. Why would our counsel, because that's the client-solicitor relationship, the solicitor gets their instructions dictated to them by us, the client. Well, why would they be going on their own accord? I don't get it. Anyways, I'm going to leave, I guess I'll post the link in the show notes when I'm done. You can find that on Odyssey, probably Rumble as well. And there's another video as well that goes along with it. But it's really fascinating to understand and to see, as people are digging down, what they're digging into the material, to find out what exactly has been going on this entire time, right? Now, I'm going to get your comments, and then the next section is something I want to talk about. LaFace says they left us drill high and dry. It's the video, Benjamin, can barely hear it. I think that's just kind of the nature of the mic. I don't have a soundboard. I'm pumping it through. You just got to pick it up on the mic. I know it's quiet. That's why I only did a little bit. And you can go and listen to the, watch the whole video or listen to the entire thing. It's on, again, it's on Odyssey. LaFace, Belinda is his daughter. Okay, so Belinda Stronic is his daughter, a conservative who crossed over to the Libranos. No, she crossed over from. She was a liberal. She was an elected Liberal MP. She crossed over to the Conservatives and then she lost in the next election, and that's the last we ever heard. Belinda was involved with Peter Eater McKay, former PC MP and CPC leader wannabe. Yeah, so everybody kind of know. Okay, I'm getting a text message from somebody who is wonderful that the sound, there's nothing wrong with the sound. So, okay, I'm going to have to, hold on, let me switch my focus to work so all those things, interruptions don't go through. Okay, perfect. All right, so check it out when you can. Let me go back to the comments here and see the rest of them, because now I'm losing all my, oh my God. There's a person, I love you, who's watching. Please don't send me any text messages. It keeps ringing. I can't stop it right now, even though I should be able to, because I just switched my focus to one that blocks it. Okay, I don't know why that's not working, but as always, my stream, nothing ever works properly, right? Okay, where's the comments? I got my Discord open here, and yeah, talk amongst yourselves, I guess. Oh, there we are. All right. From K9, Search and Rescue, I'll pass these videos in a file. Okay, Belinda, all right, we're caught up there. Can we donate to other truckers and where? Lisa, yes, we're working on infrastructure for that purpose. What we have to do is get everybody together, which we're in the process of doing. And I'm trying to connect with as many of these people as possible. So we will have something for you. I will start pushing things out because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that's really going to help us. I mean, myself, I'm going to be living in the truck for the next little while to cover some of the legal bills on my end. And there's a lot of other people that don't have any representation. And what are you going to do? You were all lied to. You were all had your goodwill taken advantage of. You all donated upwards of $5 million and change to go to the truckers and to protect the truckers. But that's not what's happening. It's going for a couple of people, but the rest of us are all screwed, the majority of us. The vast majority, the overwhelming majority. So, Lisa, I'll fill you in and I'll discuss it on a future live stream in the next week or so. And once we get everything all set up. And thank you, Lisa, very much for that. Some of these people, John was just sending me, John's a friend of mine, a trucker from northern Alberta. And he sent me this message today with some video. Not northern Alberta, northern BC. What am I saying? And they had like a mini convoy get together because they were running convoys during the entire protest up and down BC, down to Vancouver, all that sort of stuff. And he said let me read the message. So there's a video here. I can't put the video because it's separate from here. But he says, we had two guys who were in Ottawa. The one sold his truck just to make ends meet. But a mutual friend has several and let him run one. Meaning he lent his truck to one of the guys just so he could, afford to live. He was in tears most of the time during their little get-together and reunion today. He was flooded with memories and emotions, seeing the trucks, flags, and horns all around him. We all drove for 2 hours together. So, there's still a lot of people that are going through a lot of hardship. And a lot of this hardship is just because we were taken advantage of by all these people who have political contacts, because that's what this was. I keep talking during the day about Big Con Canada Inc. That's what this was. This was this organization that constantly sabotages or takes over grassroots movements, momentum, organizations coming together because they're upset that they're not getting representation from any of their political parties. So what do? They move in, they take over, and when it goes sideways, they fundraise around it for themselves and screw the rest of us. Those are your politicians, by the way. Those are your political parties. So if you're putting your faith in a political party or politicians, you're really putting it in the wrong place. The reason I was successful with some initiatives I've done politically in the past is for one reason. Two reasons. Firstly, I'm not. I really don't care to run for politics, so there's nothing they could hold over my head. And secondly, I would step on their throat. I don't care what they think they're going to negotiate. No. You're going to have one issue, and you're going to do my one issue, no matter what I say. And the only thing politicians respond to is force. And it's shocking. I don't mean physical force, right? It's shocking how many people can't figure that out. And that's always been a strategy that's worked for me. It's insane that this is happening, but I have to be honest, I never felt that that the Give, Send, Go money would get to the truckers. Well, the Give, Send, Go money didn't get to the truckers because of Doug Ford. Doug Ford sought an injunction in Ontario Superior Court to block Give, Send, Go money. That's Doug Ford, your conservative government, right? They have that kind of reputation, and I have seen them screw over other people. That I don't know. I don't really know them all that much. I know Jacob has a good relationship with Chris Guerra and with Chad and with some other people. So, as far as I know, it's been fine, right? Kiss Junking, congratulations. This is the first time she's here since she got her new job, and congratulations again. I hope everything's going really well, and all the best to all of you. Okay, so before I get into the panels, and you'll see the panels in a second, I call them the panels. Everybody on TikTok, thank you as well. You're all wonderful. Wow, people on TikTok are very friendly. Just like in our Discord. Again, if you want to join the Discord and you don't mind interacting with people from all aspects of the political spectrum, and you'll be kind and courteous even when you disagree, please let me know, and we will be looking, we're looking for moderators just to help people look, sometimes people get in an argument and they get very dispassionate, and sometimes they just need a third party there to put their hand on their shoulder and say, listen, just walk away. It's time to shut off Discord today. You'll come back to it another day. Just, we all got to calm down sometimes when we get overly passionate about things, right? All right. So one of the things I've been talking about regularly on the morning stream is, and I want to know if you guys know it, so put it in the comments. I need a soundboard with Jeopardy music. Who are the least credible people in society? Go. Start typing. Who are the least credible people in society? Think about it. Those of you who watch me might know already. Those of you who don't know, let's hear some guesses. Who are the least credible people in all of society? And I don't want to give it away too much, but okay, Risa, politicians. Christine, the homeless. Okay, that's very funny. Avril, media, lawyers, and politicians. Risa, politicians and media. Howard, politicians, media. Robert, politicians, lawyers, and media. Wow, you guys are good. Jason LaFace, lawyers. Denise, government officials. Well, yeah, that's they're definitely in the running. But yeah, Megan, politicians, the media, and lawyers. And I always say lawyers with an asterisk, just because lawyers are paid advocates. There are, and one of my closest friends is a lawyer. He's an attorney down south. And I know what he goes through. And he says, I could be a thief like some of the other people in my business and make tens of millions of dollars, but I won't do that. So he's one of those. But in general, yes, politicians, the media, and lawyers. Now, when you look at the legal team that was around the Freedom Convoy, the fact that they are politicized because, in the case of one of them ran for, I think, president of the Wild Rose Party, if I'm not mistaken, something significant in the Wild Rose Party, and has strong political ties and endorsed Diane Smith and had pictures with her recently since the convoy and stuff. So that somebody is a politician and a lawyer. How credible is somebody who is two of the three least credible people in society? And that speaks to a lot of our politicians who are lawyers as well, right? How credible are those people? Would you say that they're probably not terribly credible people? Just a thought, right? So for a year, I have been trying to explain, Christine, lately doctors too. Doctors is really interesting because if you've ever lived in the United States and Canada, doctors are completely different in both countries. I always found that amazing. In the United States, a lot of doctors are really scummy, like car salesmen. It's really kind of weird, but I'll talk about that another time. We do have some good lawyers, 100%. Solomon Freeman, don't know him, and Fadi Mansour are among them. Sure, I actually don't know them. Yeah, there's good in everything, right? That's why there's an asterisk around the lawyers, is because lawyers are also hired. They're not hired to argue both sides of an argument. They're hired specifically just to argue one side and reinforce it. And if you're on the other side, then you're not going to like them. But there's a lot of, least credible people in society. According to I Am No DJ Productions, it is Mendocino. It's pretty funny. Good for you. So, as a result, these lawyers have spent the past, year since the convoy, almost a year, defaming myself, targeting my reputation, targeting now the reputations of so many others who won't buy into their bullshit and their lie. And, Chad being one of them. And, you know all the people online. You see them on Twitter. So when they're defaming somebody like myself, for example, and trying to insinuate that I or other people are bad for a whole bunch of reasons, how credible do you think that is, right? Maybe it's the dirtbag lawyer that's the one who's lying to all of you. And it's amazing how many people, I think there's a lot of people understood that, but a lot of the people reinforced it. There are people who are just political operatives. They're the equivalent of either conservative, whatever party, I call them Big Con Canada Inc.'s 50 Cent Army. And for those of you who know China Uncensored or know about China, the 50 Cent Army is what the Communist Party pays out 50 cents for anybody who goes online and defames or attacks people who attack the CCP, right? To sow disinformation. Anyways, I hope you're enjoying your wine, by the way. This is what I got here. Don David, which is an Argentinian Malbec. Reserve. It should be a Reserve. Anyways, it's pretty good. I'm not a big wine guy. I'm learning. So I suggest, I can now recommend it now that I've had half a glass, and I'm not tipsy yet, but if I continue, I will be. All right. So we're going to get to the panels in a second. What's it called? So what we're seeing, what you just saw with the war campaign video that I had up here, and this kind of correlates to lawyers, politician, all that sort of stuff, right? We're talking about people who are the least credible people in society, right? Politically motivated lawyers who came to the Freedom Convoy and clearly were negotiating behind our backs. And when I found out they were meeting with the city, I told them point blank, stop it. No, I didn't say stop it. They said, we want to meet with the city. And I said, well, that's fine. I don't care what you want. Go get our freaking money. Be a lawyer, because we got to get money to these truckers. So stop with the Twitter or whatever bullshit you're doing online. Go be a lawyer. I'm the client. Go get our money. That's what I said to them, right? Hey, Jody, what's up? I can drink 5 of those like Lush. Listen, Jason, you're from Sudbury. What do you want? Come on. Of course you can. Come on, man. Like, I'm a lightweight. I got no problem with that. Anyways, okay. So, I'm going to show a little bit more of that video, a couple of more seconds of it, so you can just see. Oops, I keep getting these. No, not the entire system. Oops, hold on. What is going on here, man? Okay, let's go to, pardon my, oh, here it is. Okay, there we go. I have it in the browser. So we'll do a few more seconds of this.
The same day, Mr. Frank Stronic publishes an article for the Toronto Star titled, "Protesting Truckers in Ottawa Deserve to be Heard, but It's Time for Them to Withdraw." On March 23rd, 1 month after the Freedom Convoy is dismantled, it is announced that a $5 billion electric vehicle battery plant has been in the works and will be located in Windsor, Ontario. From Mr. Keith Wilson's own interview summary on October 20th, quote, "It was also never contemplated that all trucks would be able to move to Wellington. Wilson thought 25% would go to Wellington, with the rest going to one of the farms near Arnprior and other locations, or leaving entirely to return home." Mr. Keith Wilson here, in his own witness testimony, knew that his plan, worked out with Mr. Dean French, ex-chief of staff of Ontario Premier Doug Ford, would therefore cause 75% of the Freedom Convoy truckers' protest not on Wellington Street to leave.
So now you understand why I kept telling him, no, leave the trucks, don't touch the trucks are fine. The city can't end mandates. The federal government will. Give them time. They'll come talk to us. Shut the hell up, go get us our money. That was it. That's what I was dealing with. It was, plus all the other people that were were causing us such a nightmare. It was so frustrating. You know, people ask me, what would you have done differently? I would take them and throw them out of the 10th story of the building. Get the fuck out of here. But anyways, now that I know, you know, you live and learn. You knew something was up, but it is what it is. I love the Adopt a Lawyer thumbnail. Oh, yeah, by the way, special shout out to War Campaign. I hope they're not upset. I borrowed their thumbnail for this video. I just thought it was very apropos. And but if you don't want me to use it, then I'll change it. But I just wanted to give you guys credit in some way for all the work that you've been putting out there. Kiss Junkie, you're so passionate, Ben. Well, you know, my friends in Latin America, they always joke with me. They tell me that tiene el corazón a latinos, that you have like the, I don't have passion like a gringo, because they think gringos are all cold. And they're like, yeah, you're very passionate. I'm like, yeah, I'm engaged in things that I find that are important. When I want to do something and it's important, I'm, you know, very engaged. So call it what you will. Yana, couldn't write this. Yana, you are the best. And it was very nice to sit down with Yana face-to-face finally a few weeks ago. And I hope we're going to do that soon, especially once it gets a little bit warmer. By the way, something big that I'm going to announce in the near future, speaking of warm. And Nick's, I'll get to it in 1 second, thank you, locals. There is going to be something very big in June of this year. The first thing is there's a Bitcoin conference in Canada I'm going to be a keynote speaker at, and signing books and all that sort of stuff. That's going to be in Toronto, but there's something else in the U.S. that's going to be even bigger. But we'll talk about that soon. All right. So I think you get the point from the War Campaign video. It kind of lays out nicely. And by the way, that's just scratching the surface. There's so much more. But that kind of gives you a framework of what was going on. And are you convinced, not convinced? I don't know. But at the end of the day, let's think about it logically. How do you think I would have responded knowing that Doug Ford's, lockdown Doug Ford, the piece of garbage that had these provincial passports that was preventing us from going to restaurants and going out because I wouldn't use it. Yeah, I'm vaccinated. I had no choice. But I wouldn't use these stupid passports. I'm just not doing that. I don't live in Soviet Russia, right? So lockdown Doug sends his, best friend to Ottawa to negotiate. What do you think would have happened if Dean French came into my hotel room, said, "Oh yeah, I'm here to negotiate on your behalf"? Get the fuck out of here. No, get out. Garbage. No. Go tell your buddy Doug drop his passports, which he did anyways, right? So that's why they did this all behind the scenes. because they knew I would lose my mind. I would say no. I would just cut them off. No. I mean, you have to understand that, like with Tamara and myself, leading up to getting into Ottawa and then being in Ottawa, I was the bad guy. That's why they want to pin everything on Dichter, because they're a bunch of spoiled little bitches and they behave like children, and they can't handle the fact that somebody tore them a new a-hole when they were being stupid. Look, many years of running staff and running people, you learn that the first manager whoever taught me management styles, and I'm usually pretty lenient, but as he always said, if you always cut with a knife, eventually it gets dull. But once in a while, you got to bring it out to sharpen it, which is what I did on them. And they just couldn't handle it because they're a bunch of babies, like everybody in politics. Like you talk about people who are insecure. Remember I gave this analogy on the morning stream a few days ago. I was explaining that the type of people that are in politics, not everybody, of course, but in general, we all knew those different archetypes as kids growing up, different kids in school. And, there were the nerdy computer kids who I was friends with. I was also friends with the music kids because there was a bunch of bands. And then there were like the popular kids that were really good in school. It wasn't really, a little bit with them, but not so much. And then there were the athletic kids, like the jock kids and stuff like that. And then there was also, every class, there was like one or two kids that was a nerd but didn't have any talent, right? Like normally when somebody's kind of nerdy, they're going to grow up and become a university professor, a mathematician, a computer programmer, some sort of specialization because they have a talent. But we all knew that one or two nerds that had no talent. Those are your political class. Those are the people that go into politics. Not in all cases. There's some very smart people that are involved, but that's a lot of them. That describes a lot of them. All right. So I think I've laid out, with the help of War Campaign, I hope you're all entrepreneurial, like myself. Agreed, 100%, Christine. Okay, so I hope we've laid out kind of the foundation. So hopefully you understand that this is what was going on behind our backs. We didn't know until they came to us and said, oh, yeah, we want to meet with the city. And I was the first one to say, no, we're not meeting with the city. They can't have mandates. So that's the stupidest idea I ever heard. Go get us our money. That's it. That was my conversation. I had so many other things to do. I didn't have time to waste on this bullshit, right? And, so many times, Wilson be, let's talk. And I'm like, I'm busy. Go get my money. Go get the money for the truckers. We need to get money for Convoy. We're bleeding money right now. We have so many expenses. Just stop with what you're doing. Go get money. Anyways, whatever. Okay, fine. So, then what's occurred in the past couple of days that's got on my radar is a couple of, I call them panels because they're right now in the browser, but they're really text messages similar to what I presented during the POEC testimony. Now, I know a lot of people didn't understand my testimony. I've explained it a couple of times, but I'll explain it again for anybody who's new here. Going into the testimony, into the POEC, I knew it was going to be very, very politicized. It was the Liberal Party versus the Conservative Party under the auspice of, this is, a legal presentation and Canadian jurisprudence. No, it was just political bullshit. And it was the Liberal Party had one narrative, and that was, I think, not all 20, but maybe 16 of the people who have standings, because I think province of Saskatchewan was on the side of the Convoy, if I'm not mistaken. But the overwhelming majority were on the side of the Liberal Party. That's who they called as witnesses. And their narrative is, it was, as I've said many times before, it was Mad Max, pandemonium in the streets, people killing, dying, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, which is complete bullshit. All right. Sorry, I got to stop using bad words. I know. Okay, if you're evangelical watching, I apologize. Love the sinner, hate the sin. Okay, so the next was the conservative side. And what was the conservative side? The conservative side was, it was peaceful, but then it got out of hand. Okay, that was also a lie. it was a little bit of chaos in the beginning because we're disorganized. We're overwhelmed with the number of trucks. And I love how they could the government on one side of the mouse, there's just only a few hundred trucks, and then the other side, it was an overwhelming number of vehicles. Well, which one was it? Which one was it, right? They're all so full of crap. All right, so that was the conservative narrative, which was completely fake, okay? And that was promulgated. I mean, the pitchman for that was Wilson. That's why he became a witness, which didn't make any sense. But he was working for somebody. He's not making the decisions. Don't think that Wilson is the bad guy doing all of this on his own accord. He's working for people. He's a hired gun to do this. So he became a witness in the POEC. So now we have these two factions, both selling all of you a lie and a fake narrative. Then I came up right up the middle with me and my lawyer who I chose because, well, there's a couple reasons. Primarily, he was an engineer before he was a lawyer, and I've gotten to know him over the past several years. And Jim he's a brilliant guy. He's really smart. I don't say that about a lot of people. He is really smart. Attention to detail, again, like an engineer. He has an engineering mind that he applies to law, which is just brilliant. And I knew, after getting to know him after the past several years, how valuable that would be. And I called him up and I said, would you want to be are you going to be practicing a law again anytime soon? And he said, yeah, I'm thinking about it. What do you think? I don't know if he had already started or not with other clients, but anyways, he agreed to be counsel for me during the commission. But there was also another advantage, which was secondary, but an advantage, which is he was part of this Conservative Party for 15 years. He knows all the dirtbags. He knows all their strategies. He knows how they lie, and he knows how they manipulate. And I knew that would be invaluable because I'm in this political fight, which is supposed to be just legal, but clearly, as you see by the Rouleau-Wilson ruling, it was all political, and I needed somebody who could understand the landscape. That was secondary. The primary was his skills, which, he was amazing. We were, till 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, we were practicing stuff, and he was in lawyer mode. Nothing was ever politics with him. I knew he understood how it operated, but we were just talking, legal processes, filing evidence. He was teaching me a lot, and it was great. And as he said, nobody understands how this works. This law has never been enacted in Canadian history. Anybody who tells you that they know how this operates is lying to you, because they'll say one thing and then they'll hang up the phone. And anyways, it is what it is. So he was great. Okay. So I want to get on to the panels now. And Jason LaFace, yeah, Jim is awesome, very, very smart. Yeah, he's really quite brilliant. Why do they call it the Truckers Commission? POEC is embodied in the Act. I don't know. Who called it the Trucker Commission? That might be it sounds like a Rebel News thing. That's what they would call it, right? I'm a minister. You're fine to swear. Yeah, I know. But I don't keep it too... Look, I get very passionate, and I do, because I want this to be casual, but there's also a balance between too casual and not casual enough. And I'm still at the exploratory stage of all of this. So, but thank you. Thank you, Avery. I appreciate it. I think Rebel News called it that. Well, there you go. That's surprised. All right. So, knowing the backdrop of what I've just explained, now I'm going to pull out these text message panels. They might be a little bit hard to read because I took them off of a screenshot. So they're a little bit blurry. I tried to get the originals in time for the stream, but I couldn't. So we'll do what we can with them. And for anybody who is on locals, I'm going to explain this all to you because, again, there's no RMTP setting for locals for the encoder, so I'm going to have to explain this to you as well as on TickTock. Nix, go on Viva Fry and Barnes and talk about this and the history of the Freedom Convoy. well, I suggest that you reach out to Viva and tell him. I've told him repeatedly. I've spoken to his brother, suggested it, and Viva keeps having Keith Wilson on. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And please post a Bitcoin address for donations. Yes, we will. Don't trust any of the platforms that can be coerced. 100%. And hold on to that because I'm going to explain that when we're done. I have a new name for him, but Lisa says Humpty Dumpty is doing a live about you now. What's Humpty Dumpty? Anyways, whatever. Who cares? Kid's such a loser. All right, so here is the first panel I'm going to show you, which is there we go. And I will attempt to read it to all of you on all the platforms. And, Humpty Dumpty's going to get himself one hell of a defamation suit. Okay, so this is between Dean French, so lockdown Doug Ford's best friend, chief of staff, who was not welcome in Ottawa, as far as I'm concerned, who thought he was representing us. So he's basically there to take over. It says, first Keith is typing to him, start the movement as soon as the city and the reps have figured out the logistics. And Dean French responds, roger that, well done, sir. Thought can we convince Peckford to be the media contact? So now they're all also deciding who's going to be the media contact, right? So they're completely subverting us. And then, quote, define yourself or be defined, end quote. I don't kind of spacey, nonsense that is. Pseudo-intellectual nonsense, the word I'm looking for. Without Peckford counter-spinning, the Pat Kings and Randy Hilliers will give the media time and define things, huge risk. So what these two geniuses didn't understand was there's a reason I got 100 million views the first week. It's because I didn't go to fake news. And these two dumbasses couldn't figure it out because they have no experience in media outside of Digicom, inside a political party that can't score on an empty net and can never win any elections. These two losers are deciding what their media strategy is going to be. All right. So that's panel number one. The next one. Now remember, what was the assertion? The assertion is these people came here to divide and conquer. When it goes sideways, they would fundraise around it and fundraise for themselves, disrupt the convoy, and put an end to the convoy. Okay. On that backdrop, first Dean says, knows it's them, not the truckers. I didn't know what the first half of that was. City is asking Doug Ford's friend who is there sabotaging us. City asking me if additional trucks have moved into the Wellington Street district, and if they have, how many? And then Keith Wilson types, Eva and I are doing a divide and conquer. Oops! Let me repeat that. Eva and I are doing a divide and conquer. I have returned to HQ, and she went to be with Chris Barber and the trucks. Text her for real-time updates if she has found the convoy. Eva and I are doing a divide and conquer. That's pretty bad, isn't it? Like that's wow. It doesn't get more subversive than that. That's our counsel. That's supposed to be our legal counsel doing that. You understand why I've been talking about this all year, and I won't shut up about it? And people call me a Fed, call me names and whatever. My response would be, Eva and I, Keith Wilson, are doing a divide and conquer right there on the screen for you. You guys can see it, right? Yeah, on locals you can. That's why I'm reading it for you. You don't need to see it. It's really blurry, anyways. What's it called? Humpty Dumpty is doing a live about you. Your Twitter followers are not real. He's counting your views for your live. He says, "Did not care about." I cared about this idiot. I mean, Lisa, I love you. Thank you for that. But you know what he wouldn't like? I used to have 108,000 followers. Yeah, so many years ago. My Twitter account is from 2009. And my ex was a YouTuber. And me and her, well, she met a bunch of very, very prominent YouTubers, and I got into Twitter. I didn't really use Twitter all that much, but because, oh, really? He says I sabotaged the convoy. All right, he's going on the defamatory list. So she knew a lot of these very famous YouTubers and all that sort of stuff. And it's because of that, because of the connections I had through them, that I got. And Twitter was much easier back then. You could grow followers like that. You would just get, I guess it was pumping followers to you the same way that TickTock did. And maybe it was a while ago now, maybe 5-6 years ago, I can't remember, when Twitter really started to screw around. One day I went from 108,000 followers to 20,000 followers or 25,000. And then it yo-yoed back up to 54,000 followers like a week later, then dropped down to 30-ish, and then leveled off around 30. I don't know why. This is when there was massive censorship going on Twitter for the first time. I don't know how many years, maybe 4 years ago. I don't know. It was well before COVID, for sure. And so anyways, so who knows? Who knows what Twitter did to my account and many other people's accounts. I think that's around the time when Sargon of Akkad got banned and Megan Murphy got banned, which is about 5 years ago. That's when they were getting really aggressive with it. So anyways, it is what it is. All right, so that's the second panel. What do you guys think of this panel? I want to see your comments before I go into the third one. There's one more panel. He should have his license to practice law suspended. Yeah, I think he should have a lot more than that, but we'll see what happens. These texts are total excited boys club sickening. Christine, you're awesome. You have some great comments. What was the date of these messages you are reading? You know what? I don't know. I'd have to check with... I'll check with Roe, because he's the one who posted them. He's been grabbing them from the POC evidence, but I would assume they're around getting close to February 11th or something like that. So what happened is after Aaron O'Toole was out on the February 3rd, the next day Candace Bergen tried to meet with us in the A&W to basically throw us under the bus. You know, she's going to do a photo op and say, yeah, we hear the truckers. It's time for you to leave. And I was the one person that said, no, we're not doing that. I've discussed this many times before. And so we didn't. And then February 5th, Pierre Poilievre put a video out on Twitter that somebody very close to me explained and showed to me that he was about to make an announcement. So it had done, the convoy did its purpose from their perspective. It consolidated all the movement around, the Freedom Convoy, anti-vax, anti-lockdown stuff in their minds around the Conservative Party. So they co-opted that whole grassroots movements. And then they got rid of Aaron O'Toole. And then what happened? Okay, shut it down. And that's when they started to get really aggressive. But one guy was a pain in the ass and said, no. These people didn't drive across the country just so they can leave. They came to end their mandates, and they came to end the passport app. Well, you want to throw them under the bus now? No, I'm not participating in that. Sorry. So, I Humpty Dumpty. Oh, what a kid. You know what? I can't tell you how much I don't want him to talk about me more. Lisa, you think maybe he's a little obsessed? It's so good. I love it. Okay, so divide and conquer could be turn and phrase, but if they were being lawyers, it would be, we will take this back to our clients and discuss, for sure. Okay, hold on. Let me just get through some comments, and then I'm going to switch over to the third panel. And the third panel is even worse, believe it or not. Oh, it's all the smears. Now he's questioning how much truckers actually got in Bitcoin, saying you lied. It's not a matter of opinion. It's a matter of public record, and all those addresses are in the lawsuit, and they all know that. So Humpty Dumpty is... I hope Humpty Dumpty owns his house. Okay, so his wife's not going to be very happy. Scrolling down, Tony Heller had the same number drop on Twitter, extreme censorship. Yeah, and it was about 5 years ago. That's when it was crazy. It just boom, everybody's wiped out. And then people I knew couldn't get a hold of me and vice versa. It was really frustrating. I didn't trust Candace any more than O'Toole. Now people see Pierre for who he is. I think what the problem is it's not necessarily Pierre. It's the party. It's the apparatus around them, and it's the people who've been advising them, and then they won't listen. You don't think I tried during the convoy? Like, I was getting conduits to the Liberal Party, conduits to the Conservative Party, and to the Liberal Party conduits I suggested, because they were trying to form this coalition to do an on-confidence vote. And on the Conservative side, I said, I don't know what you guys are doing with Digicom, but you need a little bit of training. If you want some help, let me know. I'll tell you how to message around this convoy thing so you don't come out looking like a bunch of dumbasses, which is, of course, what they always do, right? Because people in politics, for the most part, minus the few smart ones there, are a bunch of dumbasses. The beauty of Bitcoin is it's a public ledger. Exactly. That's why all those wallets are listed in the class action suit. We are talking about Hurt Locker Tom. The best name I heard was Butt Hurt Locker Tom. Anyways, it's so much fun. You're correct. I should have been more clear. Listen, you're amazing, and thank you for being here, all of you. Like, you're very sweet, and I hope you're enjoying your wine, and I hope you're enjoying yourself. Like, this is just casual, us hanging around, talking about people who sabotage a convoy and whatever. Yes, the party lackeys are the problem and have been for years. Exactly. And a leader has to have courage and has to be able to step in there and say, all right, we're not taking crap anymore. Everybody stop this. Like, if anybody's ever run a business before, that's kind of the frame that you have to be in. And sometimes it's really difficult. It is what it is. But I've had to be in that for much of my life. I've had to be in that sort of position. Well, the CPC is a big problem, but the PP isn't as impressive as he thinks he is. Listen, all the parties are a problem, right? It is what it is. But it's a system that we got, and we got to do what we can to try to fix things, because at the same time, we also can't have Trudeau. But if we don't get Trudeau, then if we get a Conservative Party that doesn't mobilize Conservatives, then after one term, they'll abandon him, and then we'll get an even more left-wing Liberal Party. That's why we keep going more and more and more left, because everybody who's conservative in leadership keeps ceding ground to the left, and they get more left. And here I'm saying, hey, like I remember I told Andrew Scheer in his office, or I don't know, some boardroom or something in Parliament, trying to be all impressive, like I give a shit. And we had this meeting, and they're like three on one side, and what's on me on the other side. And like, what do you think, the White House? Like, it's so crazy. And I said to him, listen, you want to inspire people? Show strength, show leadership. Don't show weakness like the lefties do. And he looked at me like I had two heads. It was absolutely crazy. I agree. The same story, no matter who the leader is, when they are trailing in the polls, they sound more populist. Once they take the lead and the cold feet stuck in, okay. So the text is so small on the encoder. There are a few minor MPs like Leslyn Lewis that speak up, but they have alienated their base. So that's a strategy. The reason they give that file to Leslie Lewis is Leslie Lewis is there to grab the PPC people. So to say the things that the PPC people will like, but have the protection of identity politics. That's why they do it. It's just a strategy. That's how politics works. It's kind of gross. Anyways. Okay. Lisa, are you having fun listening to Humpty Dumpty? You're so funny. All right. Do you want to see the next panel? Because the next panel is pretty bad. The next one's pretty bad. All right, let me see. All right, the next panel is, and I will read it for you on Locals and on TickTock. Okay, this is all Keith Wilson typing to Dean French. The first part's important. The second part's not as part. This Fox thing, whatever. Truckers are very smart, says Keith Wilson to Dean French. Yes, they are. Yeah, they are. They have implemented a plan that for every truck they arrest here, we have 3 truckers waiting to come to Ottawa to replace them. So if they want 3 times as many trucks here, they meaning the government and police, whatever, they should start doing their raids. Well, he doesn't say now. They should start doing their raids. Repeat. If they want 3 times as many trucks here, they should start doing their raids. Again, truckers are very smart. They have implemented a plan that for every trucker they arrest here, we have 3 truckers waiting to come to Ottawa to replace them. So if they want 3 times as many trucks here, they should start doing their raids. Like, am I misinterpreting that? Maybe I am. Anyways, why are they talking about raids? And we never heard any of this behind our backs with Doug Ford's guy. Like, I don't understand. Are they asking for a raid? Is that what they're doing? Are they warning? Like, I don't know. But this is clearly suspect. This is supposed to be our solicitor. We're supposed to be the client. This is the solicitor working with our opposition, which was Doug Ford's government, who implemented all of these passports. I don't know. Maybe there's another thing to explain it. Maybe I'm misreading this. But you would think that the client comes first, no? But this nonsense was going on. So I don't know. What do you think? Tell me what you think in the comments. I don't know. But, you pair that with the previous statement of Eva and I are doing a divide and conquer. Next, if they want 3 times as many trucks here, they should start doing their raids. I don't know. What do you think? Right? My guess is that was a threat. So, that's, anyways, whatever. A giveaway, okay, sounds like they're warning them. You think so? Yeah, it could be. Could very well be. I don't know. Clearly, they were not smart enough to know that these texts could become public and used against them in the future. You think a lawyer would know that? Sounds like a warning. It could be. Give away the strategy. I'll tell you what doesn't sound like a warning, though. Eva and I are doing a divide and conquer. I returned to the headquarters, and she went to Chris Barber and the trucks. Text her for real-time updates if she has found the convoy. I mean, really weird. Really, really weird stuff. Really disturbing. Wilson is warning if they do a raid, they will have more trucks to deal with. But he was also trying to condense it, right? Like he was trying to get all the truckers to go home because in his own witness statement, he said that there's only, if we move the trucks onto Wellington, we'll lose 75% of the trucks. So I don't know. But could be, right? Like I'm not saying either way, but it's just really suspect, isn't it? Because Wilson had direct line to the police, as I think you mentioned months ago. It was actually, I think it was Marazzo was the one who is dealing with the police, because apparently Marazzo called Wilson to bring him to the police. Well, who connected Marazzo with the police? How did that work? Like, that doesn't... It's so weird. Anyways. And Jason LaFace says it right. We didn't ask them to do anything from a logistics end. That's right. They were retained for the purpose of defending us in the class action suit. So what the hell is all of this? This isn't defense in the class action suit. Is it subversion of it? I don't know. But these people had no permission to speak on our behalf. As the client, they had zero permission to do this. So, anyways. They had Tom Quiggin to protect raids, etc. No, because Tom went into the hospital on February something, something early on, and then he submitted a letter, like an official letter of resignation, and said, I'm no longer available to participate. And early on, he did that early on, and it was kind of weird. So. I think they're underestimating Patriots. Their strategy won't work. I think after this, people will go back to the PPC. I don't know, because, here's the problem with that, okay? And I said this in the, I'm going to go to this website. I said this in the day stream, like in the morning. Board of Advisors, Taking Back Our Freedoms, which is basically Conservative Party proxy. I think... There's some people associated with Stephen Harper who are part of this. It's either Stephen Harper or the Manning Institute, which is now called the Strong and Free Network. What a stupid name. And so look at here. This is Brian Peck. This is Brian Peckford's organization. He's the chair, or was the chair, and set it up. But the second person here is Maxime Bernier as a board of advisors. So this doesn't seem to be all that segregated between the Conservative Party and the PPC. It looks like they're actually working together with this Taking Back Our Freedoms initiative. I don't know. I'm just asking the question. Maybe I'm wrong, right? So, I don't know. It's crazy. It's some really disturbing things that we're seeing here. But wasn't Daniel the police liaison? Yeah, well, that's another person with some questions around him. But I don't know. There's so many right now. Diverge, National Telegraph, War Campaign, and a bunch of other independent people are doing deep dives into all of this stuff. I'm just looking at the text and seeing what's going on in their mood and behavior of everything that they were doing, and the fact that client-solicitor relationship means the client, us, tells them what to do. They don't go off on their own accord and start negotiating on our behalf without our permission. And then when we come back to they come back to us and we say, no, we're not going to do that. They continue to do it anyways. There's something wrong there, right? Anyways, yeah, I don't know how. I don't. There's a bunch of other proxy organizations that are part of this whole Big Con Canada Inc. So you guys are just touching on that right now. And you talk about Daniel, the police liaison. That's related to a whole bunch of other proxy organizations that were taking, in some cases, $12,000 a month to help promulgate this lie. That's another issue. Jerry, do you think Tom knew something was up? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't spoken to Tom since the convoy. I think, the COVID lockdowns and everything that went on, it really affected a lot of people. And I think he's one of them that was very much affected by it. But so I don't know. I really don't know what he knew and what he knows or whatever. Anyways. Sorry, who the hell is this Humpty Dumpty that's saying that shit? Locals. Humpty Dumpty is that cartoonist him and Tom Marazzo put a picture of the two of them giving me the finger on Twitter, which really was not a good look for the two of them. And I guess there was enough blowback that they took it down within an hour. He's the cartoonist who's not a cartoonist. I think he uses ChatGPT to do the rhymes, and then he hires a cartoonist to do the artwork, and he puts it together in a book, and there you go. He was apparently in a band. We're still waiting for confirmation with this. He apparently was in a band. His brother was in a band with Tamara's husband in 2007. So I thought he just came out of nowhere. And maybe he did. I don't know. Or maybe there's some, community connections there that I'm not sure about, right? So whatever. He said 1.5 million was divided into your Bitcoin wallets. Okay, so now he's talking shit. He has no idea what he's talking about. Into my Bitcoin wallets. How many times... There's a very good podcast called What Bitcoin Did. And on one of the episodes of What Bitcoin Did, one of the guests is Ben. He has a YouTube channel. He's from Calgary called BTC Sessions. And he went on What Bitcoin Did maybe 6 weeks ago, I'm going to guess. And he explained all the Bitcoin, how everything worked, how it was structured, the multi-sig wallet, the fact that they didn't coin join the coins. If they had coin joined things, it would have given them an extra layer of privacy and all that sort of stuff. So Humpty Dumpty has no idea what he's talking about because he knows nothing about Bitcoin. But Ben, BTC Sessions, is an expert on Bitcoin and on rigs and on nodes and all the various types of hard wallets, cold wallets, all that sort of stuff. And he explains it in full detail on what Bitcoin did, what was going on with Bitcoin during the trucker convoy, and he even goes on to say what he would do next time around. So, anyways, Lisa, when are you watching this doofus? It's so good. They set it up during the convoy. I watched it live. In my humble opinion, and there is because I was there. Everything was okay until the lawyers showed up. That's exactly what happened. And listen, there was a little bit of friction. There was a lot of chaos because we were dealing with so many problems all at once. We did not anticipate this many trucks coming out. Like, we had no idea. And we did our best to get things organized. Everybody divided into different teams. The Ark Hotel dealt with one series of areas. The Swiss Hotel dealt with another series of areas. And the Sheraton Hotel, which is where I was, dealt with another series of problems. Media was on my end, and the other areas were security infrastructure and logistics for trucks and whatever. And that took a few days, almost a week, to get everything organized. And then the plane from hell with these dirtbags showed up. And, like I told them, what are you talking to any... Don't talk to any government. Let them come to us. Look at you're a lawyer. Have you never negotiated before? Do you not understand the negotiating dominance hierarchy? And of course they did. They threw us under the bus because they gave up all the leverage that we had. They gave it up. And then we wonder why trucks got kettled. That's why we got kettled. He says BJ needs to show proof that he does not have 100 open wallets, all the money raised. Oh, okay, here. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to, since we're all here, and I can't believe I'm even okay, this is the last time I'm going to address Humpty Dumpty because he's just such a fucking loser. All right. I'm going to show all of you here, if I can find it in my, I think I have it in my bookmarks on my, oh wait, no, wrong account. Hold on, let me switch over. I'm going to go to my bookmarks, and I'm going to scroll down because I have, now, Caribou took 100 of these videos, but he took them from behind, so you can't really hear. They're on his, I think he posted to his Twitter. But this example, if I can find it, is perfect because if somebody happened to be streaming while Caribou was distributing the Bitcoin, and this is what they captured from the stream. So most of them you'd see them from the back, but in this case, you saw it from the perspective of somebody that was streaming. Now on locals and on TickTock, again, you don't really need to see it. It's one of the truckers on, I think he's on Wellington, and Caribou comes up to the window, and then you'll hear what he says, and I'll turn it up as loud as I can for you, K9. I'm sorry if it's a little quiet, but it's the best I can do without a soundboard right now. So let me just switch over here for you. And yeah, that's fine. So here we go. And, they do what the political parties do all the time. Oh, show us proof. Any proof you show them, it's never enough. Show us proof that this guy is linked to any sort of, organized crime. You show them, okay, yeah, but that's really not enough. We really need better proof. That's the game these dirtbag politicians do. I've been through it so many times that I don't even bother with them anymore. All right, you guys can see my, yes, you can. All right, so listen carefully. This is... what's his name? Tim Pasteur is in his truck, and he posted this video while he was streaming. Okay.
The bottom line is, every 2 days we got a scare. Every 2 days there's some BS about call presence and stuff.
Here comes Caribou.
Hey man, how's it going? No, go ahead. You're good.
I'm gonna give this to you.
Oh, nice.
Remember how I came and gave you some sats?
Yep.
There's $8,000 of Bitcoin in there.
In here.
As soon as the bank shut down, we had some big donors that were like...
He said there's $8,000 in Bitcoin in there, in the wallet. It was what's called a paper wallet, where you can transfer Bitcoin into a QR code on a paper wallet. Then you can scan it with your phone. Because remember, Bitcoin is on the block exchange. It's basically an access QR code. You can scan it on your phone, and that'll give you access to the Bitcoin that is allocated to that code on the blockchain. Okay? So he just handed him a wallet, said there's $8,000 of Bitcoin in there.
We need to get Bitcoin to these truckers. I'm not kidding you. So keep it safe. Basically open it up. There's instructions. All you do is do a recovery code. It's going to tell you to download Blue Wallet, which is what the recovery code's for. So it'll be a different wallet than the first one I showed you. Okay.
So in there's a recovery code for Blue Wallet. You'll download Blue Wallet into your phone, scan it, and you'll get your Bitcoin.
Boot it up. That's yours.
Fuck,
Thanks for
that's
your service.
insane, man. That's ridiculous.
That's fine. Dude, you came all the way here and you're saving our fucking country. That's ridiculous.
Holy shit, yeah.
That's a thank you from the Bitcoin community.
Holy fuck.
Much love, cheeks.
Thank you from the Bitcoin community for everything you've done to help save our country.
There you go. I'll see you around.
Hey, threw me off. Thanks, man. That's insane, dude. Yeah, so anyone listening, man, you guys caught it at a good time. So I just met that guy a week ago. And he had a Bitcoin toque on. I said, what's up with that? And he said, actually, if you don't mind. So I let him sit in the truck or whatever. And we downloaded his wallet or whatever. And he said, there's some massive, freedom-loving people love Bitcoin and stuff like that. So he said, we're going to probably get some big donors in the future. And so whatever. And apparently there's $8,000 of Bitcoin in here. There's going to be a QR, I'm assuming, or something.
So there you go. Running out of RAM now. So there you go for, and you know what's the worst part about all of this is when the remaining, because there was $800 and something thousand that was transferred in this manner. So each wallet was $8,000, and he managed to get to about 100 trucks in the little time frame. Like, he was working all through the night. His computer crashed. He had to go out and buy a new computer, reset everything, and managed to continue to try to get everything to the truckers. And he didn't finish in time because while there was still a couple of 100,000 in Bitcoin, whatever it was at the time, he was raided by the RCMP and the OPP. He surrendered his seed phrases to the multi-sig wallet. I had one of 5 seed phrases, and he had the rest of them. And I surrendered my seed phrase to Keith Wilson's agent, a lawyer that he hired to work under his advisory, I guess, Norm Groot. And Norm Groot drafted an affidavit for Keith Wilson to submit the seed phrase to the escrow agent who now holds it. A seed phrase is like a password, right? So Keith Wilson is the one who received from both Caribou, the guy you saw, and myself, he received them and he filed the paperwork with the court. And then he goes on the record during the POEC commission to say, I don't know what happened to it. How that guy has a license to practice law, I have no idea. But I'm willing to guess he's not going to have it very much longer if he keeps up this shit. I'm getting sick and tired of it. Anyways, I'm not angry, by the way. Not angry at you, right? I think he's a piece of shit. But you guys are all wonderful, and I love you for being here. And Risa says, so cool. So cool. Oh, yeah. I want to ask how much how Bitcoin works. He has no idea. He has no clue. But anyways, sorry, did that come off as like aggressive? And I didn't mean to. Just, I get passionate, right? Here we go. Sure. Yeah, sure. BJ Grifter, you and your facts and proof. Yeah, future. Exactly. Me and my silly facts. and the silly text messages from them and whatever, right? Must be the wine talking. No, actually, Christina, I'm actually usually quite passionate, but I want to state the point, like harshly, that they keep this up. Like they're I guess a few weeks ago, they were celebrating, or after the commission, they were celebrating, like, oh, they won. They don't realize I haven't fired the first shot yet. I haven't even started. They think I've started. I haven't even started on them, right? Like, it's, anyways, let them celebrate because they're not going to like what's coming down the pipeline. RCMP can easily debunk that. Of course. Listen, when I testified, the entire hour before my testimony was dedicated to laying out from the commission where all the money is, including at the 52-minute mark where they explain that all the Bitcoin is in escrow, held with the escrow agent. That's the commission telling you. So, and verifiable. Like, this is not a matter of opinion. It's a matter of public record. Yeah, Humpty Dumpty keeps going on these, the defamation train. Okay. Hope he owns his house. BJ, you digress. I don't know. Anyways, whatever. This is only the second time we're doing one of these, nighttime drinking parties. The first time was when for those of you who are here, when we watched the Punchy McGregor fake documentary about the Freedom Convoy, which was a lot of fun, and a lot of you enjoyed it. And that's why I wanted to do this again, and I'm sorry I couldn't do a coffee stream in the morning. I don't think I'm going to do one tomorrow because I got to get, I got to work, so I got to get in my truck and go down to Connecticut tomorrow. But anyways, in your opinion, all of you, take down the comment on the screen so we can see it clearly. Oh, okay, that's from before. Ignore the haters. They thrive on your reaction. Just keep shining. No, 100%, 100%. And that's why when I do the morning streams, I try to focus on what's going to be my next topic I want to get into, which is positivity and the positive framing and all the good things that have happened, despite all the noise that keeps going on. And who accessed the money raised? Is it still in trust or something else? Yeah, it's in escrow. It's in escrow pending the outcome of the class action suit, which was launched by a political party against us. And I thought it was just one political party, but now I'm starting to think it might be more than one political party who colluded to make this happen. This is the best casual live ever. Christina, you're awesome. You're very, very sweet. Thank you for the praise. I really appreciate it. I just put ruins on their rock. Okay. By the way, Jesse has this. What kind of bird is it again? I keep wanting to say Pikachu, but that's Dragon Ball. A cockapoo, I think it is. That her cockapoo, if it's a cockapoo, apparently is my biggest fan. That when I'm streaming, all of a sudden it becomes quiet and just fixated on my stream. So I think that's awesome. It's nice to break into that animal kingdom demographic. I hope you're right about not having fired the first shot yet after all the bad bills, corruption, and the fake vindication about the Emergencies Act. I want to see some competence. Okay, so there's a couple of things. First, I am going to be doing something around the Rouleau-Wilson report. So I'm just waiting for some documents to come in. That I will be addressing that through a legal process. So that's the first thing. I'll let you know more about that as it happens. Freedom Cowgirl, I guess she's drunk already, says this: if we keep up the night shows, I'm going to have to take up drinking. You're awesome. Would love to see Ben's reaction when he watches it. All right. Cockapoo is a cross between a Cocker Spaniel and a Poodle. Yeah, that's something. It's not a cockapoo. Cockatoo. Okay, cockatoo. It's close. An umbrella cockatoo. Yeah, you told me that before. That's why I get confused, because I grew up with dogs, and I think cockapoo, cockatoo. What do you want from me, right? I love animals. Definitely allergic to most of them, but still love them. And Ashley Ray, you're growing on me, BJ. I hope not like fungus. And listen, Ashley, between you and I, please don't get upset with me, okay? I hope I didn't overstep my boundary. So Ashley has produced a couple of really, what I consider really effective videos that I'm so grateful for. I actually uploaded one of them to my thing, because I only saw it on Twitter and I didn't see it on YouTube, so I put it on YouTube, the first one, okay? Please, Ashley, don't get upset with me. I DM privately with Scott Adams, and I know you're a hypnotist, and that's something that I've always had a casual interest in since I started, read Cialdini's books many years ago, learned a little bit of NLP when I was living in Miami. And that's what actually got me into Scott Adams. Like, I didn't really know the cartoon so much, but I was looking for a persuasion, Cialdini-ish type podcast. And that got me into Scott Adams. And I didn't realize he was the Dilbert guy. So we've been communicating since a little bit here and there since the Convoy. And I actually sent that first video because Scott Adams was talking about different things that people have had to push back at on social media, alternative media, that sort of things. One of the things I talked about was being defamed on YouTube videos. And a couple of days later, coincidentally, you put together that first, what I thought was incredibly persuasive video. So I sent it to Scott Adams. And I said, what do you think about this video? And I didn't, give up who you were. I said it's just somebody who's a trained hypnotist. And he was confused. He's like, I don't understand the context, who the people are and whatever. So I gave him a little bit of context. I was interested to see if he would cover that on his podcast as a persuasion technique. Because I noticed you were typing about anchors in it and stuff. And it was really great. So I'm eternally grateful for you. Maybe you don't like me. Sure. Not everybody likes me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea. But I very much appreciate your skill set. And I wish more people did. Because I showed it to a couple of many other people. And people close to me in my life. And I'm like, can you see the technique that she's using in this video? Like, this is brilliant. Like, from a marketing persuasion perspective. But, I guess, you're trained in it. I'm not. But most people, they don't understand, but it seemed to be very effective. So thank you very much for doing that. And I am eternally grateful for you for that. So cockapoo's okay, so there you go. I grew up with poodles. I should know that too, by the way. But what are you going to do? Angie P, I love Ashley's videos. Well, then give her I just subscribed to her on YouTube. Subscribe to her just to help everybody out. That's what I'm trying to do, kind of pay it forward. And, with War Campaign 2, it's very interesting. Leading up to, and this is kind of related to the fact that we all have different platforms and YouTube channels and Twitter Space and whatever. Leading up to the commission, War Campaign was doing a video, and a bunch of their audience, Dichter's a Fed, this, all the smears that were coming from the political class that people bought into. So I was in my truck, and I got in what's it called? I went into the comments. I was on my reset my 30-minute reset in Batavia. So I sent a message. I started typing in the comments, and then somebody realized, oh, hey, that's BJ. And people are like, then they're like, is that you? I'm like, yeah, I typed, yes, that's really me. So Ro said, eventually after enough time, he said, well, if you want, I'll send you a link. Come join the chat and give us your perspective. And he did. So we talked for 10 or 15 minutes on their break. And I think he was a little surprised. He didn't, they never heard my perspective and didn't trust me. I could tell, but something was not right. You could tell with him. You could tell something's not right here. What I'm, with the narrative, I think. But then they just kind of dropped it and moved on. Then I gave my testimony. And then, of course, so few people understood what I was trying to do because I couldn't get up there. I've said this many times. I couldn't get up there and do a vlog and just tell my side of the story. I had to have all these, orchestrated, scripted questions that they had on their end that I didn't know what they were, and I had to try to answer them in a way that I could get my story out because I didn't have standing. I was denied the opportunity for standing. If I had standing, I would have been able to. So because I was there with two hands tied behind my back, and 20 people was standing, all of whom were hostile to me as a witness. So Jim and I did our best to try to figure out a way to communicate it, and some people understood it, that it was the Conservative Party versus the Liberal Party, and both of them were lying. And I came up and tried to show how they're both lying. I had to do it indirectly because, again, it's a Q&A session. And then I guess the War Campaign audience wasn't having any of it. They just deferred back to, oh, he's a Fed and smearing me. And I'm like, okay, well, here I got to go. I got to start all over again. But I give Ro so much credit that after enough time, he's open-minded. He was starting to delve into things. He saw Diverge Media's article, and there's some other things. I'm not sure what really turned him to start to, I think it was, if I remember correctly, I'm going to see him when I'm in Ottawa, so I'll get all the answers to this. But if I remember correctly, he was being dictated to what he should say about it, I think by Marazzo and them. And I would never do that to anybody. And I think that turned him off, and then he started exploring the other direction. And I haven't told him what to do. I would never do that, much like I didn't tell people what to do in Ottawa. I just recommended. I gave him as much stuff as I could, answered all his questions. Chad did the same. Chris Guerra did the same. He reached out to a bunch of other people. Bridget Belton, I think, also communicated with him. And he came to his conclusions, which seemed to be in line with what I've been saying the entire time. So I got a lot of time for them, for the fact that they're open-minded to, well, let me look at what the evidence shows, and I'll come to my own conclusions. I'm not going to have anybody dictate a narrative to me. And have a lot of respect for that. And I think that's Ashley, when you first came up on my radar on Twitter when I saw that first video. And I got to tell you, I watched that video like 50 times. I was I was giggling every time I saw it just because the technique was so good. So thank you again. Angie P, I already subscribed to Ashley's YouTube channel. So there you go. Give her and Ashley, I at some point maybe I'll ask you in the future. I want to do some training. I was always like almost to that point, and because of doing marketing for my own business, that's why I was trying to learn this stuff, just to communicate to a broader audience. And but sometime if you're cool with it one day, then I might ask you some questions, but I won't bother you. Wouldn't be surprised at anything these corrupt politicians are up to, Harry. 100%. It's all manipulation, man. It's all they do. They can't govern for hell, but they can manipulate all of you really well. Oh, yes, I remember that BJ in that chat. Oh, you remember me in there? Yeah, that was the first time I was on, when I was on War Campaign, actually. No standing, broken ankle. Yeah, my ankle is still in so much pain. And it was so obnoxious when Sheila Gunn Reid from Rebel News described me. You know, they were talking about me after my testimony, and talking negatively about me, of course, because they're part of the grift. And she said, "Oh, we'll have BJ on any time, and he can give his side of the story." So I immediately called up my lawyer, and I said, "Jim, do you have Sheila Gunn Reid's contact?" And he said, "Yes." I said, "Well, she said she'll have me on anytime. Why don't you call her and let's see if she'll have us both on so we can explain our perspective." And she did. To her credit, she did. But, so we did a full hour. I answered all the assertions that were questions. And unlike Hurt Locker Tom or Thief Wilson, they didn't put it on the main channel like they've been doing with them. They buried it on the Rebel News Canada channel. They put it up once, and it was supposed to be Sheila's Wednesday night program. She didn't make it her Wednesday night program. And when I asked about it, she said, "Oh, yeah, because that's behind a firewall, and we want everybody to see it." Like I'm fucking stupid. Like I don't know exactly what you're doing, right? So they're burying it from their audience, which is exactly what the CBC does. They're no different. So, anyways. Lavitz, what's up, brother? It's good to see you, man. I love Pepe, man. Pepe's awesome. Did you say Thief Wilson? It might have been a slip of the tongue. So I didn't mean that. That would be derogatory. Jesse, who is Mr. Sunshine Baby? Another guy who I liked, but everybody in the audience, like all these political activists, what they'll do is, much like they'll do it on Twitter, they'll go into a stream, they'll go into a chat, and they'll start saying, "Oh, Dichter the Fed, Dichter did this, Dichter did that." And, you say it enough times through repetition, people start to believe it. And that's what it is. And I found War Campaign from someone on Ben's Live. Oh, okay. Very cool. It was brutal that she kept saying your side of the story like you were the enemy on the board. Yeah, exactly. Well, again, back to, this thing I've mentioned many, many times. And I think about this anytime somebody sends me from Rebel News. And remember, this is very key. And you don't have to be in media to understand this. On January 30th, when we were in Ottawa, me, Tamara, and Chris Barber had our first press conference. No mainstream media allowed. It was all alternative media. That's the one that Kian Bexty broadcasted. And it wasn't 15 minutes. It wasn't scripted. It was 2 hours and 20 minutes. They had us in our full context. And I actually emailed Ezra Levent directly the night before because I wanted alternative media. And I invited Rebel to attend. They didn't attend. They missed it. There was a miscommunication. Mocha got yelled at for it, whatever. We finished the press conference. And at the end of the press conference, I got a message from Alexa who said, "We missed the press conference, but we're here. Can we do an interview with you?" So I said, yes, of course. And now I'm starting to think, was it intentional? Probably wasn't. But anyways, I said yes. And I'm going to get something while I'm talking. I said, Chris Barber just left, but Tamara is still here with me. If you want to wait, if you can be here soon, if you can be here in 10 minutes, I can tell Tamara to stay here, and we can do the interview with you if you want, but you got to get here soon. So she said, okay, sure, we're going to come right now. Now, they must have been running across downtown Ottawa because they showed up in like 9 minutes, and apparently they were on the other side of the city. So they show up, and this is going to be good if I can find this. You're going to like this. And so they show up, and they said they set up their camera. It was Alexa, Lincoln, and Mocha. And they did an interview with us for, it was just under an hour. I think it was 51 minutes is burned into my brain for some reason. And I said, I told them we can do it. So they came and we did the interview together. Sorry, I'm also at the same time scrolling for something because I'm going to show you something that nobody has ever seen, nobody in the world has ever seen before. I haven't shared it anywhere on social media or anything. You're going to be the first ones ever to see it. Okay? So they showed up, and we did a 51-minute long an interview. It was myself and Tamara. Now, at that time, some of you have heard this many times before, but this one's going to be a little different. Well, it's going to be the same thing, but I'm going to show you something additional. It was myself and Tamara, our full context. The reason I was doing it is I thought when she called me, I said, this will be perfect. We give the exclusive interview to Rebel News. My email is overflowing. Twitter, I'm getting 10,000 messages like an hour or whatever. Like it's getting overwhelmed, so many messages. I'll be able to front run the legacy media because remember, legacy media was trying to largely ignore the convoy at that time. And I do know people in legacy media watch Dave Rubin. They watch Rebel News and all that sort of stuff. I'd be able to front run them with the narrative. The first narrative becomes the story. Peace, love, unity, and freedom. And Rebel News will put it out there and we'll get ahead of everybody and everybody will be happy and that'll work to our benefit, right? This was the biggest story on the planet. On the planet. And Rebel News had the exclusive interview with Tamara and myself. We finished. Alexa said, I'm going to upload it. I'm going to translate it into French, get it out to the Quebec audience. This will be great, blah, blah, blah. Awesome. That night, I checked. It's not up. I messaged Alexa either that night or the next morning. I can't remember. Because the next morning, again, it wasn't up. I'm like, what's going on with it? This has to be up. We need this up now. What is taking them so long for the biggest news story in the world that might have had the largest number of views in Rebel News history? That day, I got busy. End of the day, checked again, Rebel News. It's not up. And then Alexa finally told me after a couple of days, yeah, I don't know why it was not approved or something. So Rebel backstabbers. We'll put it up there. So Rebel took the biggest story, the biggest news story in the world, the exclusive interview with myself and Tamara, and they buried it. They buried it. How do you do that if you're a news organization? Even if it was CNN, they wouldn't have buried it. They might have deceptively edited it, but they wouldn't have buried it. And I still see that footage popping up from time to time, so much so that at the Jordan Peterson event, somebody who's a really nice guy who works for Rebel News came up to me and says, we saw that you're talking. I guess they're watching my stream, Big Con Canada Inc. We saw that you mentioned the news story. Don't worry, we have the footage. We're just using it for a documentary. And I said, you know what? I didn't need it for a documentary. I needed it when it was the biggest news story in the world. Because you know what? It would have been nice that I could have submitted that as evidence in the commission. So they also denied that. So, by the way, I'm not angry. I'm just passionate. So what I'm going to show you now, Christine, I remember that story. They wanted to save it to make the documentary, right? Yeah, they want to save it for the documentary. Alexa makes me think of the female Inspector Clouseau. Peter Shelley's, okay. Anyways, all right. So I just described to you that we had this interview with them, with Rebel News. It was an exclusive interview on the 30th, and they buried the story, okay? Now, what I'm going to show you is this. You see that? Let me take Christine's. You see that? What is that? That is me taking a picture of that interview, sitting beside Tamara. That's the interview that should have been the biggest story on in Rebel News' platform ever, was the #1 news story on the planet, and they buried it. Is that excusable? Do I have a reason to think they're corrupt and be pissed off at them? What do you think? Sorry, I know everybody on Locals. You don't actually, can I share this? I think I can actually. Let me, yes. Hold on. I have an idea. I can't get it to TikTok, but I might be able to get it to Locals and then come back over to, one second, let me just go to here. I'm still learning technical. What can I tell you? This is the stream is as rough as it gets, and I think there's some charm in that. Here, let's see. Let me see if it pops up on here. If it pops up on here, then we're golden and it's working. Yep. Yes, perfect. Okay, so people on Locals, you can now see it as well. So, do I have a right to be pissed off at Rebel? What do you think? Should I be pissed? At that interview, which was all about peace and love and unity, it front ran all of the legacy media. It would have been the narrative that everyone would have had to digest because it was the first narrative. I mean, that's the key in media, right? The first narrative becomes a story. We see that happening through news wires all over the world. Right? Christina, absolutely could have changed everything. Yes. Yes, it could have. So people ask me what I would have done differently. Well, that may be one of the things I would have done differently. Told them to take a hike and gone to somebody else. Hey, K9, love your posts. So intelligent, thanks, Jesse and Angie. I really don't like people attacking war campaign. Yeah, you know it's funny. Ashley, you notice they're getting really desperate and aggressive and attacking those guys. And like I said before, they're just being objective. And they didn't like me, and I didn't say anything. I tried to reach out to them. I said my piece. They continued doing their thing. And then when the evidence was in front of them, and then they started doing the digging, you know what? They went with the evidence. They went with the truth. And I got a lot of respect for anybody like that, irrespective they agree with me or not. You know, there's something to be said for objective truth, right? I love Ro and Pan. I told them outright in the beginning I was leery of them, but they gained my trust. I don't trust easy. Yeah, listen, they're entertaining is what they are, and I like there's a little bit of shock value for their adversaries, but it's okay to shock your adversaries, right? Like I think I said to Ro, actually, when we started talking recently, I said, you know, there's a reason, even with all the dumping on me that was happening, I was trying to watch them during the POAC, during the commission. And I said, because he's really talented. Like, it was funny. It was funny watching them during the testimony, and Ro had that window up and was typing out comments and stuff. It's so funny. And I'm like, man, there's a reason people like watching you guys. It's because you're talented. And even I appreciated it, notwithstanding a little bit of the, adversarial attacks. But, it is what it is, and they didn't know, and that's fine. So, and I'm not a snowflake. So there we are. All right. So the last thing I just want to talk about before we shut down, because it's been a while. Wow, it's almost 2 hours. It's the longest one I've ever done. I want to make them long so the Humpty Dumpty team can have to spend all their time watching me. So, Hail War Campaign, them hilarious. They're awesome. Okay, so I wanted to end on this, on a little bit of positivity. And there has been so many good things that are going on. One of the things, around all of this stuff is the fact that notwithstanding the people who either actively sabotaged us, the people who didn't have our best interest, the people who are opportunists who were there in Ottawa just because they wanted to latch on to money or they wanted to be famous or whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's all the noise, right? Like, that's all the obnoxious noise. But, all of us here, many of us didn't know each other 6 months ago. A couple of us have now met face-to-face, and I'm sure more of us will in the future. I mentioned before that there's going to be a Bitcoin conference in Canada, in Toronto, that I'll be speaking at. And also, there's going to be a massive music festival that I've been invited to, along with many truckers, and they want to honor the Canadian truckers. They want to honor us for our fight for freedom, for everybody, both in their minds, in the United States and in Canada. It will be in the United States. It'll be in the Northeast. And I'll give you more details as we get closer to it. I'm trying to organize a crew of Canadian truckers and American truckers who can be there. It's 4 days long. So think of a very cool freedom sort of Burning Man music festival for 4 days in New England in the summer. So it should be a lot of fun. I'll tell you guys more about it as we get close to it and ensure that you'll all be invited to attend. I don't know what their ticket prices are going to be, how it's all going to operate. They've just, they've told me about it several weeks ago. Had my first meeting with them today. Today or yesterday? I met with them today, actually. And it was, yesterday afternoon. And I'm very excited about it. And I think all of you should be if you liked the spirit of the Freedom Convoy, and for those of you who are in the Discord, if you like the spirit of what the Discord is slowly becoming, peace, love, unity, freedom, and respect for people who disagree with us, but a willingness to listen to things we disagree with and not get all offended and still love each other. If you like that spirit, then you're going to love the spirit of this music festival. It's going to be very cool, and I'm going to take a pretty prominent role with it, as well as some very, very prominent people in the United States. So it's great. K9, we need you in the Discord. You are such an important voice, and so many people love you there. Maybe I can connect you with Tao, who's running it, who's helping to run it and set it up. Maybe he can help you with it. That's the only thing I can, because I'm still a little bit lost with Discord. I'm getting better. I'm still figuring it out. But if you want, I can connect the two of you. He is on Twitter, and maybe he can walk you through getting into the Discord. How the heck would Derek... Who's Derek? Oh, Humpty Dumpty. How the hell would Humpty Dumpty know what happened in Ottawa? Humpty Dumpty could not be bothered to get off his wall and come to Ottawa. Yeah, like I don't know whether this guy just showed up like a few months ago. He was never in Ottawa, so I don't know where he is. Jesse, is he, Humpty Dumpty, live right now? Somebody told me he was live right now or recently. You can see if he's live right now. Okay, so music festival is one thing. I will let you know more. I first got to figure out which truckers are going to come, who can come, and all that sort of stuff. It's all ages, all demographics. It's open to everybody. You don't have to come for the full 4 days. I will likely be there for the full 4 days because I'll be doing a number of things there. I've met many of these people in the United States. Really sweet people. All they care about is freedom. And they care for everybody to be able to speak freely. So they're awesome for that. And then the other thing that I was going to finish off with today is the questions that I'm going to go to bed with tonight. What are those questions? Well, two. One is, what are 3 things that I or you are going to do to make tomorrow amazing? So I'm in the case where I'm going to be getting up pretty early. I got a bunch of things I got to do, and then I got to hop in the car, drive over to my truck, and pick up a trailer and drive down to the U.S. And this is a longer run, so I probably won't get there until pretty late at night. Hopefully I'll get in time that the restaurant I go to is still open. So what are 3 things that you're going to do to make tomorrow amazing? And then the other thing, this all comes from Christina, laundry. Okay, well, listen, to each their own, right? I needed to do my laundry today, but I didn't. I'm screwed, but that's another story. But then the other thing is, what are 3 things you're going to do for others tomorrow? So from my perspective, maybe I'm wrong. I hope this is not too, presumptuous. I'm trying to do this for all of you too. I'm trying to, when Tao reached out to me to do the Discord, and Tao is, by the way, kind of a lefty. He's like, I hope he doesn't mind me saying that. He's on the other side of the political spectrum. But again, free speech, respecting each other, freedom for all. Let's be, courteous to everybody and hear everybody's ideas. And I love that. And I'm already so grateful that he's reached out. So we're doing this for all of you. We're doing this because we got to end all this kind of the animosity and the friction and all that sort of stuff, and all come together. We started doing it during the convoy. So the base layer is there for us to come together even more. We just got to get rid of the subverters and the saboteurs and ensure to push them aside so the rest of us can all get together to an amazing music festival, Tao says, Jack Layton, NDPer, been busy fighting the radical left since 2918 or so. All right, so there you go, 2019. So yeah, so Tao is a Jack Layton NDPer. So yeah, there's going to be lots of things we disagree with, but I know he's got a good heart because he's taking time out of his life to try to help us build this platform where we can all support each other and reach out to one another. And that's how we'll get beyond the divisiveness of the political parties that are causing it. Angie, I was on Humpty Dumpty's live stream commenting while listening to BJ. I don't know if he deleted my comments or not. I can tell you he deleted your comments. I can tell you right now he did. Avril, get up early, prep for the week, get tons of work done. Cool. So, it's those little things in life that make it worthwhile when we have that sort of, like, I'm going to do my weekly review in the morning too as well, right? Was telling everybody about how the 100 wallets were for the 100 different truckers to get some actual money. Don't know if anyone saw that though. There was the multi-sig wallet, and I was dealing with the media part. Caribou was trying to deal with the Bitcoin part. He said he wants to move them out, and he's got a system. He was having problems with it technically. It was beyond my technical capacity to understand. He was having he was getting attacked by people online who were making accusations against him. This one guy, JW, was threatening, I'm going to sue you, and we were donating. And to JW's credit, Nick said, hey man, instead of attacking me, why don't you help me? Because I don't know what to do. Like, I'm lost. I don't know what to do right now because I've never had to deal with this before. And to JW's credit, he said, oh, okay, yeah, sure, of course I'll help you. So the two of them started to figure out a plan to moving Bitcoin out of the multi-sig wallet into paper wallets, how to distribute them, and all that sort of stuff. And that's how they ended up getting it to the truckers. And I know in a couple of instances, the truckers broke down in tears because they thought they were going to lose everything. And they're behind on the truck payments, mortgage payments, and that was a game changer for them. And unfortunately, some dirtbag politicians / lawyers want to ruin that amazing moment for people. What are you going to do? People are what they are, right? But anyways, so that's I think that's it for tonight, unless anybody else has anything else they want to say. Freddie, get up for coffee, baking, babysitting, grandbabies, and daughter make muffins for hubby and feed the animals. That sounds like a very lovely and wholesome day. And I hope that's what your day is like. And I'll be praying for you while I'm in the truck, hoping that you and your family and everybody are safe and have an amazing day. And I hope you'll do the same for me. Hopefully I won't get caught in another storm like I was. Have a great day tomorrow. All of you have an amazing day tomorrow. And I hope I shed a light on some of the stuff tonight. And if I didn't, I hope you just enjoyed having a couple of drinks, hanging out, and don't confuse my exuberance and my passion for being angry. I'm not. There's some people that annoy me a little bit, but they're going to get their up and comings anyways. So that's over the long term, they're not going to be doing very well, I don't think. I like the pictures you post from your truck on Twitter. Oh, okay. You know what? If I can find my GoPro, I don't know where it is, somewhere in my apartment or in my truck. I took so much GoPro footage and I wanted to splice through some videos to show all of you what it's like driving through rural Massachusetts, Rhode Island, rural New York even. There's some towns in rural New York I drive through. You'd think it's Texas. Like, it's hysterical. It's Trump flags everywhere and stuff. Like, it's really funny. But it's awesome. It's you really get to see what people are truly like on the sort of ground level. So thanks, man. I'll post more pictures of that when I'm on the road. I just thought maybe it's too boring, and so I didn't even bother. But here we are. BJdichter, I shared a give send go for Saba, trucker dragged and beaten. Yes, I've heard about Saba's give send go, and good for him. I'm glad he's got that, and we got to get the rest of everybody else covered. I'm working on that now with some people. We'll have something in the near future. I don't want to feel like I'm being like a chazer, like the JCCF and all the rest of them. Like, any money we collect will be going into an escrow account for a lawyer, and that's it. This is not for us to enrich each other, but this is why I'm trying to do all these things. This is why the book cost me a fortune to put out, but I need to sell books so I can raise money for legal and all this sort of stuff, or be in the truck to do it and all that sort of stuff. So you guys offering to help is amazing, and I can't thank you enough. It's really awesome. Have you thought about cutting up these videos into short clips? I have. The problem is time. Like, I'm in the truck usually at least 60 hours a week, or at least I'm out in the truck. I'm not driving the full 60 hours. But when I'm in my truck and I have the Wi-Fi, it's after 10 hours of driving sometimes, and plus 2 hours of prep, and you get there and you're exhausted, and I got to wake up at 5 in the morning the next morning and continue and then come back. And so depending on my run, sometimes I have more time, but I don't have a lot of time in my life right now. And I think it's more important just to get the streams out. If I had more time, if I had more of a budget, so if I hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and I can start to monetize this, and the Honking For Freedom, which is monetized, and I can get a little bit of a budget into production, then I have somebody that I'll hire that can start to cut up little short videos and whatever. We'll do that and put it as an audio podcast as well. But, one step at a time. I'll get there eventually. And so the short answer is yes. It's just going to take a little bit of time. Can you send directly to a lawyer so it can't be taken by the class action? Yes, that's why it's going to go to an escrow account. We'll figure out the infrastructure, how we're going to do it. Bitcoin will be a part of it as well. I've spoken to my lawyer, and he will be able to accept in Bitcoin as well. We're just figuring out how he's going to do that, if we're going to do something. So you have the option of Bitcoin or send directly to the escrow account. So yeah, I don't want a third party to. So many of you have been taken advantage of, and at least in my opinion, and I think that needs to end. We need transparency, meaning when there's legal bills, if you guys want to see the legal bills, you'll be able to see them, and you'll be able to see how all the money is spent. I don't want any of this money. I just want all of us who don't have counsel to be protected and represented. That's all I really care. I'll make my own money, work my own job. That's what's important. And all the other truckers I've spoken to feel the same way. So that's where we're at. Okay, so I think that's it. Oh, we have some the grift never ends. See here, you've all been here for 2 hours, and here we have one of the Big Con Canada Inc. NPCs. The grift never ends. Man, what are you gonna do? Anyways, all right. So and Freedom Cowgirl, Will Do Bud, love you. I love you guys too. You're awesome. Have an amazing rest of the weekend. I'm not going to be able to do a stream tomorrow. Again, I'll be in the truck. If you want to reach out to me on Twitter. If you want to be in the Discord, you want to join the Discord, just send me a message on Twitter. I think I have the DMs right now for people who want that. And if you know Discord and you're cool with being part of a group that will have both people who are righties and lefties, and we're going to disagree, but we have a right room and a left room, so we don't have to cross our swords if we don't want to. But if you're interested in helping to moderate and administer that Discord, then please let me know. Would love to have you participate. And if you just want to join, then join. Angie is part of it. And Angie, I actually spoke to Tao, and we're going to figure out a moderation role for you that just doesn't take a lot of time. But, one of the groups that you can administer and help people along and all that sort of stuff. And thank you for volunteering that. K9, thank you, and you have an amazing day as well. And to all the rest of you, and Jesse, give my best to your family who are watching alongside. And we'll talk to you soon. And Sonia always says it best at the end. Peace, love, unity. Well, peace, love, freedom, unity, and hope. And I hope you all feel that sense of hope, because I think things are going to get better, despite all the noise that we see with this setup, with Christine Anderson and all the politicians. Look, they work for you. You're the ones in charge. And it'll take us some time, but we'll make sure they learn that. All right. I'm going to call it a night. I love you all. Get a good night's sleep. I hope you're not tipsy. I'm not even tipsy yet. And we'll talk to you all soon. All right.